Right, I can happily say that the diorama for the gas station is all finished. All the figures and the bike are now put on. I've done a few bits and bobs with some sand and some desert grass, some tumbleweeds. I've done all that, and it's looking really nice now. Looking back at the videos on my computer, I actually started this like mid-November, and it's like the first week in May now, first week in June. So that would be December, January, February, March, April, May. So I've been working on this just over 6 months, you know, here and there. With work the way it is, it's all or nothing. We could have nothing for a couple of weeks, and then within an hour of me getting in on a Monday, we could have 40 pallets, and it'll take us ages. And I've been working on and off with this. I've had other things going on as well, in my personal life, some other stuff I've had to do as well. So for the just over 6 months I've been working on this, it's been on and off. I mean, sometimes when I get home from work, I've had such a crap day at work, I've been like, I haven't had the heart to work on the diorama. Sometimes I might not have touched it for a week because I've just been that disheartened with the way things are at work. I mean, the one day we had 40 pallets in within a couple of hours on the Monday, and I was that pissed off. I got home really fed up, and I nearly put my foot through the diorama because I was that fed up. I was like, I'll bloody give up. And with other things as well, yes, it's took me 6 months. If I hadn't have had them other things to do, and work being so crap, you know, I started this the middle of November. Don't forget I had the petrol pumps that I bought myself for Christmas with my Christmas box, and them didn't arrive till like just before the new year. So I probably could have got this done if I'd have had the time. I probably could have got this done at the end of January, maybe the end of Feb, but like I said, life's got in the way, other stuff. So, but to be honest, all good things come to those who wait, to be honest. And the way this diorama's turned out, I'm really happy with it. So, with my fat rambling finished, here's the final reveal. Right, so there it is, all finished. When I'd left you on the previous update, I just glued the building down and the stanchions. Again, I couldn't hold them down with the cocktail stick toothpicks because even though I put them in level, it just shot out. So the one thing I will tell you about, if I put that there like that, you could see that this back stanchion here is a bit wobbling on the piss, because I reckon the back stanchion should have come about here, but when I had the boom box and the car on top of the cardboard, somehow it must have shifted shifted forward. But, you know, it's abandoned. This probably would, in the actual Resident Evil Extinction film, it probably would eventually fall down with the weather and the wind and the desert sand and the wind and all that lark. So, just to point that out, that side's on the piss. On the other side, I think that's not too bad, actually. Yeah, the other side's perfect. Right. So, the first thing I did is I glued the petrol pumps on. I couldn't weight them down, so I had to use the gravity of those to put them down. Once those were dry, I then picked up me some UV glue because I've never used it before, and I dipped each of the edges of the cash only, cards not accepted, cash payments only, and then just held it down, got my UV torch, and those have glued down, an absolute treat. Never used UV glue before, but from the work I've used the UV glue for on this, it's gone down really well. Then when those were finished, I then started with the playsand. My wife picked me up some playsand from off Amazon. I then dried it out. I put it on a paper towel on my window ledge and just let it dry out, and because it was actually like a darker sandy colour than that, Took about a week to dry out fully, and then I just put it in the dish. And then I just left the dish in between applications when I didn't need it on the window ledge to dry out a bit further, maybe even lighten the shade up a bit. So what I did with that is on the glue marks, if you remember those glue marks around the petrol station and around the stanchions there, I just painted on some Mod Podge and then just sprinkled on the sand. Yeah, I just sprinkled it on and then just kept sprinkling it on, let it settle, let it dry out on the Mod Podge, and then I just got some I mixed some Mod Podge with some water in a dropper bottle, and then I just dropped it on. And the one good thing about the watered down Mod Podge on the sand you just need to put a drop on and it spreads it out by itself, the Mod Podge. It's a bit darker than the sandpaper, but I'm not really bothered about that, to be honest. So the various areas that I've put it on, all the way down the front of the building, round the stanchions, turning this round. You can see it's there as well. I've gone all the way around the back as well. Again, let it dry. Drop my PVA Mod Podge water mix on with a dropping bottle, and it just spreads it out itself. You don't do nothing with it. Then once all that had dried out, I then started to use some desert grass that I picked up off Tamiya. And it actually has the consistency of horsehair, so whether it is actually horsehair, and I'll just drop that about, again with the UV glue. I didn't go party political broadcast. On the actual scene there's a lot of grass round here, all the way up here. But as I ain't got much room, I decided not to do that. I just, like I said, just dropped it around here and there. Also, you'll see that I've made some tumbleweeds. Now the tumbleweeds, let me just get the bag that I had from Temu. I looked on the internet and I said how to make tumbleweeds for dioramas. And people were saying they actually used loofahs. So I got me a loofah bar and just cut it out and just rolled it up. And it looks alright. And then what I did is I just got a couple of my sand browns. I've got like 2 or 3 sand browns, and just get it some definition, get it a bit more colour to each one. So I've got those 2 there, and they were quite big in the scene as well. And I've got one that's just made its way over there. I've just glued them down with the UV glue again and just topped it up with the sand. It's not 100% perfect, but doing those like sand colours, I've got some light browns and some medium browns. I even put a bit of earth shade wash on it as well, just to give it a bit of definition. Once those are done, I then started on my vending machines. So I cut the back down to get to level with the paper, and then I just glued them on with some Mod Podge and just let the gravity. Did I use Mod Podge? No, I didn't actually. I used a touch of super glue on the back. So that's those. And then once those were done, I put my little bin down there. I've put my AC unit on the top there. I've put one of my security cameras on the stanchion itself. I've got my other security camera just above the door there. I've had to change the position of the satellite dish, because the satellite dish would actually sit on the front here. Because my stanchion's in the way, I've just glued that in. What I did is I actually cut some of this grip tape away, and then I used the UV glue. And within like 20-30 seconds that was dry, and that's holding up a treat. Once that was done, I then put my steps in. And on the side. Talking about the side, I've also put the decals on my bin. And I've also took some inspiration from some of the graffiti artists on the way to work. There's a guy called, the most prominent is a guy called Dose. His tags them everywhere. So I took some photos on the way to work on my phone and just got a white marker. And just did Dose on the bin lid. And there's a couple of other tags there. You got the one in the fine line black marker there. There's another tag there, looks like devil's ears, and then you got a guy called WTA who actually went over Dosey's tags with his own WTA. So I just done those with fine line markers, and then again just with the UV glue just glued it into place. I've got the other step there. Now I've got some barrels, oil barrels, yellows high octane, reds. One of them's diesel and one of them's regular fuel. I can't remember which one's which. But I put those together, painted those, and glued them down with the UV glue. Those were in the military miniatures set. The 135 drum set there. You get jerry cans as well. That's number 186. So I picked that up from Hobbycraft. I think that was about $5.99. You get 6 barrels all told. I just used the 3 and stuck them in the corner. Once that was done, then I glued the figures in. So you got Blue Jean Guy at the back there. There's Alice on a bike. Now Alice, she doesn't sit on the bike right. I don't know if it's the coattails at the back that's not making her sit down right. So I had to glue the one hand onto the actual handlebars there, and the other handlebar is virtually between the legs. And then I just so if I can zoom in a bit, so you can see I've put all the jerry cans. There's 2 jerry cans, one on each side. You've got a backpack on the side, you've got a sleeping mat, you've got a utility backpack on the top there. It's a shame that covers up that Raccoon City decal that I put on, but I know it's there anyway, and you've seen it yourself. And then zooming back out again, you've got on the front there the handlebars, you've got another utility bag and a couple of ammo holdalls, and I've just glued those onto the front roll cage with the full ball bars, and then I've just left the light in the middle. I've left that clear. And again with the UV glue, just a drop under the front wheel, a drop under the back wheel, and one on a foot. And the bike was a bit back heavy, but once the figure's on there, Alice's figure, it balances it out fine. You've got the crawling shop worker, lab worker. You can see that I've put the blood god down as she's crawling across the sand, and she's obviously left blood there. So then you've got the police lady. You know, the RPD police lady, she's there by the petrol pump. And then just manoeuvre my camera around the side there. There's the road worker with the Las Plagas tentacles coming out of his mouth. And Alice is pointing the gun at him, because obviously he's the more dangerous of the walker, zombie, undead, whatever you want to call them. So I'd say she would pick him off first, then crawling girl, then the copper, and then maybe she'd turn around and kill Blue Jean Guy at the back there. And then just like I said, with the roof as well. And that's it, all done. I have no idea when I'm going to put this. I'm thinking about moving the lifeboat, cleaning all that crap off there, putting the lifeboat up there. So there's my lifeboat over there. I'll put that up there. And then where the lifeboat was, I'll put me zombie hunter diorama next to me Endor diorama over there behind the clothes horse. So I'll just spin this round so you can take one more look at it. It's not going to be 100% movie accurate, but I like it. You know, an amateur model builder like me. If, you know, for you guys out there who are like 50 billion times better than me, you could have done a way better job than me. But I'm happy with this. You know, it took longer than I expected, with the reasons that I explained. But there you go, all done. Right, so first of all, I want to thank you for sticking with me for all these months. I'll put some stills on at the end of this video. I'm sorry the build took so long. And I'll see you soon with the next build, which you already know I'm working on Street Talk, so I've got to finish that off. So thank you very much for watching.